All right, welcome to Bench Points. As you can see, we've got two extraordinarily handsome gentlemen joining us today. We've got Dalton and Derek from the Double D's podcast to talk a little bit about this tournament. You all may have heard about it, but it is the March Madness tournament. Today's Selection Sunday, big day for a lot of folks, especially Purdue fans, and there's a reason to be excited about that. That's for sure. Totally understand that. Wearing the swag today. But we're going to go ahead and kind of get started. But first and foremost, we've got to talk about the Bench Points Bracket Challenge. Jake, you want to kind of tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, look, we're at a bracket pool on ESPN. Just search Bench Points. It'll show up. WinWear is partnered up with us. We've got tons of giveaways between discount codes all the way to trucker hats and T-shirts. And the more brackets we get, the more prizes we get to give out. So just take your free entry, join in, see if you know more than we do.
Yeah, we love to see it because we're pretty confident in our capabilities. But if you're out there that you can prove yourself that you deserve to be on the bench with us, then so be it. Let's see it. Let's see it. All right, so let's go ahead and get things started and talk about some seeding controversies that are lingering out there since the selections have been made for the tournament. Who is the most overseeded team and why?
I got you right off the bat. It's Gonzaga.
It's always Gonzaga.
No reason.
It feels like it always is.
I'm sick of it. I'm so sick of them taking a seed, but I'm so happy it happened the way it did this year. Perfect draw for Purdue. I'm not impressed. 30-3, not worried about it. It's the same story every year.
Yeah. I'm with you. It's like they didn't get punished for Huff being out, like in being questionable. It gets punished for Toppin being out. Like they talked about penalizing Duke for Foster and Ngumba, but we're just gonna not mention the fact that Freddie Huff hasn't played in 6 months.
Yeah, I got a couple that I threw in here. I think Alabama's overseeded. I don't know how they got the seed that they did with what they've shown throughout the year to be extremely inconsistent and just honestly not very good in a league that's not very good, in my opinion, comparative to somehow getting 10 bids. And then St. Mary's getting a 7 seed. You know, if you're upset about Gonzaga, how about the team that couldn't even beat them? Getting a 7 seed in this tournament over other teams that I think are much better. And then North Carolina, I just don't know how they end up on the 6th line. They're 31st on KenPom. They just don't have any of the metrics that back up being, what would be a top 24 team in the country. And then you don't even know if Caleb Wilson's really going to be available. So those are just some that I pointed out quick.
I think Wilson is out.
Yeah.
Like the surgery on his thumb took him down.
Yeah, he's 100% out. He's shut down for the rest of the year.
You stole mine with St. Mary's there. I was going to go.
Sorry, I should have only said one. That's my bad.
You're good. It's fine. I'm going to stay out west, though. I really hate the West Coast Conference because I don't see Santa Clara. Like, we could say the whole West Coast Conference there was way overseeded because they all beat each other, and somehow that improved their schedules. Because the only team St. Mary's beat that's in the tournament is Santa Clara. And Santa Clara beat Gonzaga, and then Santa Clara beats St. Mary's, so somehow that gets them all in. But you got Oklahoma, who beat many of the teams in the tournament, even with the weak non-conference they had, can't sniff in. But Santa Clara is safely in, not even in the play-in game. That shocked me. I don't understand why we're multi-bidding that conference out.
Yeah, for me, Derek nailed it with Alabama. Like, I like the Alabama team all year. They're fun to watch for the most part, but their performance throughout the year did not warrant a 4. So very, very shocked to see that. But I also kind of saw some playing around with the seeding and the regions here that had me scratching my head a little bit. Namely, when you look at the East, they just jam packed that with every legendary coach in college basketball right now. They're just just screw those guys, put them in the pit and see what comes out of it. And we could talk about the seeding for some of those teams in a bit, but if we're talking really who got the benefit of the doubt here, it was certainly Alabama. Now, we had talked multiple times about UConn potentially playing for a 1. They did get a 2 line here. I will say that they are the worst 2 line right now based on the way they're playing. And I'm not sure if that's overseeding or if it's just they're falling apart at the wrong time.
Yeah, it's one of those that the debate between me and Sam have been all year is after the mid-December mark, UConn has not looked anything near a top 1 or 2 seed. But that November and early December with the wins over Florida, BYU and all that absolutely looked like a 1 seed. So it's weird that it's a wild thing. St. John's beats them 2 out of 3 times, wins the conference tournament, and is 3 seeds behind them. Is kind of crazy.
I think, isn't Demery now questionable?
Think so. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that he is.
How are you going to put them on the 2 line with Sorry, Sam.
No, you're fine. That's going to be like a hockey injury. They're not going to disclose that till game
Right.
day.
Yeah.
I just
Wait,
wonder how
which-
you put them on a 2 with a quad 3 loss.
Yeah.
But
That's
this is my issue when I started looking at the bracket. Which 3 seed you're replacing them with? Like, I don't like
Right.
Illinois
It's,
enough. I don't know how Virginia gets a 3 seed.
MSU.
Yeah,
Really?
Michigan State was a 2-line up until today.
Yeah, when I saw them announced it a 3, I said, "Oh shit, Purdue's going to get a 2."
Yeah,
because that was the team we were competing with.
We were texting in group, and I was like, State at a 3, that means Purdue's a 2.
When
And
you
it
heard
was
the
just
guy from the committee talk after and say that win today jumped Purdue 3, they had them as 11 and jumped them to 8, which I thought was incredible.
Well, yeah, and that's we'll get into Purdue, Michigan here in a little bit, but you talk about a team that went from a 4-line going into tournament week,
Mm-hmm.
and we talked about does
Doesn't
conference
matter.
tournaments matter, especially with these higher seed teams. In this case, like with the teams left, like it mattered. Like Purdue, like thank God we didn't get a 3 because we've talked about the Pokemon card that Matt Painter doesn't have is losing
Yep.
to the 14. So I mean we dodged that bullet. But yeah, these conference tournaments matter, especially when you've lost all the steam that you had at the beginning of the year and you finish out strong. And that's what we're looking with, Purdue right now, Arkansas having a big SEC tournament win, St. John's, like talk about starting bad and finishing strong. Like the champ week was actually fun this week.
It really was.
I mean, the whole thing going, like, I think one of the first championships we had was on the buzzer. And then you had the death of the WAC conference, and on a missed alley-oop. Like, I mean, when I saw that ball get tossed, I was like, oh man, they won it on a oop, and dude just slams it off the backside of the rim.
Yeah,
Champ week's my favorite.
That was a tough play. So what about who's the most underseeded?
Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I put Vandy and Texas Tech. Really, the whole 5-line, in my opinion, is one of the best 5 lines. Like, this could be the year there's no 12-5 upset.
Yeah.
That 5-line is dangerous.
I worry St. John's and Wisconsin worry me because Wisconsin's playing amazing basketball right now, but they've gone through periods where they don't, and same with St. John's, where it's just big gaps, and so they worry because especially with the draw that both of those got.
I've said Wisconsin's losing first round or beating Arizona, one or the other.
Yeah.
So it feels like the team I think is the most underseeded. I really like this Texas A&M team. I think they deserve to be a single digit seed. And I think they got to kind of love where their jaw's at because the style they play and where they get into play could cause issues for a thin Houston team in the second round and a St. Mary's team that has no want to play at the speed they want to play. So it's I think were underseeded because they were winning the SEC for most of the year and fought hard, did some good games. They just had a couple bad losses towards the end of the year, but they got penalized for the loss in the SEC tournament. It's the only thing I can make sense of it.
I'll go back to Michigan State. I think they got robbed today. Just like we said, UConn's they're not there. Lost to Creighton at home. I mean, it's despicable how hard they push the Big East and the SEC. I'll just say that. I know you're an SEC fan, Jake, but it's 10 teams out of that conference this year is a bit much, man. I can't ride with that. And I think Michigan State got robbed getting a 3 seed instead of a 2. I think there's plenty of room for that.
Yeah. I'm with you 100% of the way on that one, Dalton. I mean, just imagine you're Michigan State. You do lose to UCLA in your one Big Ten tournament game. And to be fair, Bilodeau was out for a majority of the second half in that, and you still lost. You still kind of fumbled the ball a little bit, but you're comfortably at a 2 going into this week. And then you watch Purdue railroad their way through, no pun intended for the Boilers there, go through the Big Ten tournament. And you're like, oh, and then you watch UConn get curb stomped by St. John's, and you're thinking, well, maybe they'll look at that quad 3 loss and they'll sneak us in. And then you watch that first bracket get announced, and you're like, 3-line? Are you kidding? Didn't we do enough? We won at Mackey. We almost took down Duke. I know close doesn't count in anything but horseshoes and hand grenades, but I'm with you. Michigan State's got to be sitting in that locker room right now thinking, what do we have to do?
Not because you took a shot. I was going to say, not because
you don't up either. Is the Michigan State team? It's only going to motivate them. That team plays. They play chippy.
The thing about they're not good. They're not like a great team. They're just gritty. Like they are like the hardest working team. They play with more heart and more effort than almost every team in the entire Big Ten. and that's tough for me to say as a Purdue fan because that used to be our MO, and it's now Michigan State, and that's how they've won games. And I felt like their hard work and their grit and their effort earned them a 2. But I'm with Dalton. Like it's a little shocking. I mean, obviously to the benefit of the Boilers, 100%. But yeah,
I'm gonna push back on this a little bit. Show me their wins, like especially non-conference. Where are we at? You're talking about Arkansas and North Carolina.
Yeah, still tournament teams. They're quad ones. I mean, they handle business.
But the thing is, your main wins on the year are at Purdue and Illinois in overtime. Nothing else fancy. You lose to Nebraska, lose to Michigan twice, lose to UCLA. You split with UCLA, and you have a Minnesota loss hanging out there. Like I don't know. I don't think they did enough to overseed, like to jump somebody. I think it was the same way UConn we talked about with the 1 seed. It was theirs to like, but they were handing it backwards, and as soon as they lost in the Big Ten tournament, like
yeah.
Let me ask you, Jake.
UCLA team that was beat up.
Is 9-6 quad 1 better
Not all
than
quad ones are the
7-3 quad 1?
But not all quad ones are the same.
I understand, but I'm that's my question is UConn 7-3, and they're, they did get wins over Florida and Kansas.
Yeah.
But
and BYU, I don't know. I don't
hard.
think that seed is as bad as like the most like underseeded team. I think they're.
I think I'm just basing it off of every projection I read on X, basically, and like I thought Michigan State was good enough to be on the 2 line. I don't respect the Big East, and I think we'll see that in the tournament. I think St. John's makes it further than UConn.
It's fair. I also got worried when I saw UConn get that 2 seed there, that Seton Hall was going to sneak their way in somehow, and because, like you said, they were pushing the Big East a bit there, because getting Villanova in, it was kind of a reach for me as well.
And then which seed line makes no sense? And then which seed made you do like a double take? And then we got a little bit.
I got really curious about the 12s. Every time I saw a 12 come down, I was like, I wonder who this is going to be. Because the 12 is always like the fun. I think we talked about it. The 5 seeds look really, really good this year. But your 12 are always the fun teams. And then you have High Point and McNeese, like 2 darlings of the tournament last year. Like everybody was picking High Point to be Purdue. McNeese obviously got a big win over Clemson. So like
Akron,
huh?
And then Akron.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, it's just kind of like some power mid majors here that have been fun all year. But it's like they got punished with the hardest 5 line that Will's ever seen in the tournament. Like the 5 line this year, it would have been like, 2-3 seeds in like 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, they're just fantastic teams with a lot of momentum and a lot of things going right for them right now. So I feel bad for the 12s. Like as while I was watching that, every time I saw like the 5 get announced and then the 12, I'm like, God, poor High Point, poor McNeese, poor Northern Iowa, poor Akron. Like, this is going to be brutal.
I think Akron's going to roll, but I like Akron.
Yeah. I'm going to jump on right behind that just because my number here was the 5 line. And so you said the 12 and I said the 5 really made no sense to me only because of the strength of it. Like you mentioned, you had the Big East tournament champion and regular season champion on the 5 line. Vanderbilt, who is 12th in KenPom on the 5 line. The average KenPom ranking of these teams is 17. It should be, you would think, around 20, 16 to 20, something. I mean, so it's not that far off. But then you also have Wisconsin, who slayed multiple giants on the road this year. Texas Tech, who was a top 10 team until one injury, and they still have the horses to go beat some people. Normally you're looking at the 5 line like, man, some of these teams could lose to 12s. I'm looking at the 5 line like, how many of these teams will beat the 4 seed? Because to me, it feels like it's going to be almost, in my opinion, the 5 seeds will be favored over a lot of these 4 seeds, just from my eye test. So I was pretty shocked at that. And then my double take was just Purdue, honestly. I didn't think there was a world where we got a 2 seed no matter what we did today. Historically, that game hasn't mattered at all. I think that the committee really made a point to make them matter this year because of all the discourse that people saying they don't. Just like them coming out and saying it jumped Purdue 3 spots, which is a huge jump in a single game. I mean, over the course of a season, that's astronomical. So, yeah, Purdue really shocked me. I thought we were going to be the top 3. I didn't know how much it would really change anything. The 2-3, you still got to play each other. But Yeah, that was a surprise. And then the 5 line just being as strong as it is and those teams are all not just teams that I don't think are going to lose first round personally, but teams that I think can upset 1 seeds in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, 100%. That's why I was like, these poor 12s.
I'm gonna beat up on Clemson for this. It was my double take, and it was a seed line that made no sense for me. I think it's a recency bias. They had a nice little run in the ACC tournament, but a 6-6 quad 1 record and 7-4 in quad 2, bumped up to an 8 seed out of a weak ACC, really kind of had me scratching my head. I look for Iowa to handle business in that game against them, but that was one where I was like, I've watched some of Clemson, and they're not good. Mark that one down for me as an Iowa victory, 9 victory. I don't think that Clemson should be on the 8 line. I think they should be further back around the 11, 12 line.
Yeah. That Clemson team, by the way, this is going to be a fun watch, Iowa Clemson. I want to see Clemson come out and be polar opposites of what they were last year, because they look like deer in the headlights from jump against McNeese last year. So very interested to see what they do this year, because if it's anything even close to what it was last year, it's going to be just an absolute mollywhopping.
I mean, they can't score, so if that defense doesn't travel, that's trouble. But my seed line that made me so confused was the 11 seeds. Like they don't make any sense to me. That South Florida team is dangerous. They are a very, very good team, and they're sitting on the 11 line. And then at the same time, we've got Miami of Ohio, who probably shouldn't really, like, debate or not, shouldn't have been in based on how good. Like, if you're just taking how good they are, shouldn't really have been in. And then neither should NC State. I don't think NC State should have been in. Texas is questionable. They had a good amount of quad 1 wins, but they also had some really strange losses. So that one's questionable. And I don't know. That whole seed line just confuses me, because nothing on it really made sense, because having South Florida and VCU there really discounts how good some of those mid-major teams are, especially like the South Florida team, I think, is very dangerous. And VCU, I mean, they're won 8 of their last 9, and the 9 was just a barely loss to a very good St. Louis team that had been ranked all year. Like, and then they won the A-10 conference tournament, so like it feels a bit disrespectful to the mid majors, and given quite a bit of grace to the power teams that got the 11th seed.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on the sense that this was the worst bubble period ever. And the selection committee was probably turning knots trying to figure out how the hell to get certain teams in and who to leave out and stuff like that. So first time in my life, not envious to not be a member of that committee and making those selections, especially with watching like everybody try to, abandon ship on the last number 1 line, and also every team that had an opportunity to put their stamp on their tournament resume just be like, yeah, not today. That's like literally everybody just jumped off that wagon and be like, yeah, good luck, committee. Pick one of us. It's just like you're at prom and the only thing that's left are the ugly girls or the ugly guys or whatever your preference is. And you're just you look over and it's just like, yeah, I got to take one of these. All right.
Something else that surprised me, I was a little bit shocked that Houston and Florida weren't flipped. With the way those last games ended, Houston played a very tight game, and Florida got their asses handed to them by Vandy. I thought that might have been the difference to flip those two, because resume-wise, I think those two teams are very neck and neck. But it was also Houston is the 2 seed in the Houston region, so who really got the better benefit? I don't know.
I think that was taken into consideration. I think that they were like, we'll make the top 2 and give them a home court advantage, basically.
This was the most uninteresting 1 seed bracket in a long time, because when we talked about this earlier, it didn't matter who was the 1 overall seed. Nobody was competing for the same region.
Right.
Duke wanted the East, and nobody else wanted the East, so it didn't matter. Like, because if Michigan would have been the 1 overall, they're wanting the Midwest, and they still got there. Duke still got there, being the 1 overall. If Florida was going to want the South if they were the 1, or Houston, and Arizona, of course, was going to want the West. So, like, there was no jockeying for position, no reason to really fight. Everybody that was on the 1 line got exactly where they wanted.
It is crazy to me that Florida ended up at 1.
After that rough start.
Let's talk. Their best win was over Vanderbilt this year. They beat Kentucky 3 times. No one cares. And they also had a quad 2 loss to Auburn. So that's That's another eyebrow raiser, but I don't know. Like you said, it worked out for everyone in their favor. Everyone pretty well got where they wanted, but I don't know. It's got to be a hard job to be on the committee for sure.
I like my job better where I can watch what they do and then tell them how they were wrong after the fact. That's my favorite.
Exactly.
Which team got a gift seed?
Villanova.
Opinion on it. I wondered if somebody might say that.
Villanova. I mean, to be fair, I'm not even sure they should be in the tournament, but Big East hater, obviously. So
You don't say?
I
But you
got
haven't made
nothing for him.
yet. Would you like to go on record?
I mean, the East Coast people aren't very nice people, so we'll just say
No,
that
they're
on
not.
the record here.
Yeah,
My gift seed is, to me, like as obvious as it gets, and I'll tell you why. Kansas at 4 makes 0 sense to me. They're 21st on KenPom. They had 10 losses, including losses to UCF, West Virginia, Cincinnati, Arizona State. I just don't see. I think it's just the Darren Peterson effect and the Bill Self effect solely. They're 23-10. They lost 4 of their last 7. They just got absolutely blasted by Houston, scoring 47 points. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. Like, they looked way more like a 5 seed than a lot of these 5 seeds look like. And I think, they got a little bit of the Bill Self bump, but to me, Kansas is a team that might win a game or two, might look really good for a game or two, but they just don't have that consistency. And Darren Peterson's going to decide he doesn't want to play at some point. But I just can't believe that they ended up a 4 line. That's a gift. That's a gift from the gods, and they did not deserve it.
Yeah. I'm gonna go back to the Purdue well here real quick. Starting off tournament week at probably a 4, playing their way to a 3 for sure, and then landing to number 2, and then getting a very favorable West bracket. That's a gift. I mean, if you look, I think Miami's got some athleticism that might cause them fits, assuming Miami beats Missouri. But the way Purdue's playing right now, I think they can handle that. I think, their size matchup, if you presume Gonzaga coming out of there, I think they handle that. I think BYU's athleticism would give them fits, but the shooter and Saunders being out really kind of favors them. I am seeing a trip to the Elite Eight for Purdue based on the seed line that they got and the section of the bracket they're in. I think that's just broke very, very well. And I think the committee rewarded them for beating who was at the time the number 2 overall team in the country and dropping them down to a 3. I think that was a gift. I mean, just Merry Christmas, Purdue Boilermakers. Here you go.
So we've kind of already talked about this one, so I'll bring up 2. But Gonzaga is definitely one of the biggest gift seeds out of 3. This team beat Alabama. Congratulations, who didn't? And Kentucky were your best wins, I guess. Then you lost to Portland and St. Mary's in conference. Never really looked dominant in a very Sisters of the Poor conference. So get at a 3 line, that is very much a gift. But then Georgia, I don't understand how they got out of a double-digit seed. They were just barely over 500 in conference and really only beat teams that were, besides Arkansas, beat teams that were below the Mason-Dixon line in the SEC. They also are holding on to a loss to Clemson, a 1-point win over Xavier. And I mean, they took to Auburn to overtime for them to win. Lost to Tennessee, which was great, but at home.
How about the Q3 loss to Ole Miss?
Yeah, that one too. That's brutal. It's hard for me to consider Ole Miss a Q3 loss with Chris Beard coaching because the guy he understands how to coach in a tournament. And almost got his boys into the dance, but just ran out of time there. But yeah, Georgia, to me, I don't get how you're not a double-digit seed.
All right, so for each region, we're looking at doing a quick region breakdown here. So we're looking at best team, most vulnerable, top lead, best upset candidate, and then the team that nobody wants to play. We don't have to necessarily hit every one of those, but we can try. But those are kind of the target topics we're thinking to kind of break down each region. So let's start out with the East region.
What order we want to go in? I'll go first. To me, the East is the easiest region of all of them to pick these categories. Duke's the best team in the region, and I'm not even a Duke guy. I'm actually going to fade Duke in this tournament once it gets past kind of the beginning here. But I think the most vulnerable team is UConn. They haven't looked good. I do think Demery has an injury, and if so, it might actually help them, to be honest, because he just turns the ball over nonstop. But they just haven't looked very good. I think they could lose second round pretty easily. Upset pick would be South Florida over Louisville. Louisville hasn't looked good. Michael Brown's out. And South Florida just looks like one of those teams. Like, I watched that game against Wichita State, and my God, they remind me of that what was that team in Florida that was like dunks
Florida Atlantic, or no, not
or
Florida
Gulf
Atlantic.
Coast, Florida Gulf Coast. Yeah, they remind me a little bit of Florida Gulf Coast. And then the team nobody wants to play, at least in my opinion, is St. John's. They're a team that could completely fall flat on their face, but when they're going, Ejiofor is an absolute beast down low. I don't think Duke wants to see them. That's one guy I think can match up with Boozer pretty well. So that's kind of my picks in that region. I think the East region is maybe the hardest region as far as like coaching talent, big name brands. Like it's going to be an interesting region when it all shakes out. But with those four, topics, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm going to make mine quick. Go ahead, Jake. Floor is yours.
Yeah. Duke, best team. I think the defense they have is unreal. I think they can pretty much cakewalk to the Elite Eight. And then maybe get Foster back. Stole my upset pick with South Florida. Love that. But I like this UCF team to do some magic here, and I think they might see the second weekend. Not sure what the injuries actually entail for UCLA. If those two guys are out against this UCF team, that's trouble. And UConn is very vulnerable. I think UCF is a very, very good team to run into there. The team nobody wants to play, I think, is that South Florida team. They are extremely athletic. They are not given enough credit. They're so fast. They're very good. They're very well coached. The only part of it is apparently coach is already talking to Syracuse and a couple other schools about jumping up. So you worry if he makes that move, or if he's already made that move, and what locker room happens there. But in a vacuum, that South Florida team, nobody wants to see them.
I'm wondering about that.
I'll pop in here real quick. I'm going to make mine. Duke is hands down the best team in this region, best team in the country, if you ask me. Upsets. I got two of them. Jake, are you sitting down? All right, good. He's sitting down. So my upsets are, and I'm not 100% sure if you can call this an upset. I'm going to take UCLA over UConn in the second round. I don't think that's necessarily an upset. I think with a healthy Dent and Bilodeau, I think that's a foregone conclusion. I don't think UConn will keep pace at all. And my next one, Jake Diebler is going to coach Ohio State past Duke in the second round.
Let's see that. Oh,
so
Sit down, Jake. Sit down.
Here's the reason I say that. This Ohio State team is like, it's like that weird kind of sort of poorly constructed team that's just got some really, really good leadership on it on the floor. And Thornton is a dog. And this is his last merry-go-round, right? I am going to be 99.999% wrong on this take, but I do smell an opportunity for upset here. Now, Duke, assuming Ohio State gets past TCU, which TCU has been like, TCU has been like, whoever plays them better be ready, because, I mean, they didn't win a lot of the games, but they tested a lot of the teams that were on the top end of the rankings here. But if Ohio State gets past TCU, for Bruce, I'm going to pick Ohio State. Now, I also would not be shocked if Duke wins by 75 points. But that's going to be my big upset pick there. The team that nobody wants to play, Jake, I'm going with you, University of South Florida. I think they're fun, they're athletic, they're dangerous. They can get hot. It's not a team you want to play.
I'm just shocked that you're going to take Ohio State there, because, I mean, they've got a team that's a mirror image in Michigan in the Big Ten, that they've got beat by 20 at home and tried their best, and Michigan took their best shot and won by 4.
Well, they played them pretty tough a couple days ago.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like Michigan won by 4, but
yeah,
it's a mirror image of the team that you're picking them over.
Again, we always have to pick like some crazy upset, right? And I don't feel like UCLA over UConn's crazy, but I do feel like Ohio State might be like the crazy one where like
could happen.
Like, I mean, if it happens, people will look back and be like, clip this, we'll put it on the internet and be like, that guy's a genius. But they don't show
everything else.
100,000 other times I was wrong. So, like I said, I'm wearing denial. I started that during Champ Week, and it's worked out for me pretty well. So,
like, just to balance it out, if you're right, we'll just pair all your Arizona behind it.
Still have Arizona doubts.
Yeah, I'll jump. Best team, obviously Duke. Most vulnerable, top seed, UConn. The best upset I have is first round Furman over UConn.
I would love it.
Give me 215.
Let's go.
It would make my life if Dan Hurley lost to a 15 seed. I just don't believe in this UConn team. I really don't think it'll happen. It's one of those things, like you just said. If I am right, please clip this, guys. and post it everywhere. The team nobody wants to play. You know what? Derek stealing all my St. John's thunder. If you had heard this guy talking about St. John's last night, it wouldn't be the same as this, but I turned the corner on him with St. John's. They're tough. Give me Kansas as a team nobody wants to play. There's a lot of Kansas hate going on in here, but also forgetting about Kokomo's own Flory Badunga. Nobody talking about Flory Badunga. Darren Peterson has another level. If he decides to use it, people are in danger.
Hey, I just wanted to update everybody. They did just release times for games. Purdue 7:35 on Friday. Sorry, I had to tell somebody.
Perfect.
Boy, I hate that Friday evening game. Oof, I'm having PTSD.
All right. Yeah, I think everybody's mentioned that was good. That was a good kickoff. What about the South region? Let's go with that next.
Yeah, I'll go best team Houston. You'll find out eventually in this that I am fading almost every 1 seed. I think that my hot take is that no 1 seed makes the Final Four this year. In a year, everyone says it's going to be all 1 seeds. I just don't. I think the 2 through 5 line is too strong, and I don't think that the 1 seeds are going to do it. I think they all have flaws that will be exposed in a neutral setting against good shooting teams. Anyway, most vulnerable is Nebraska. Just haven't been playing very good, and they've kind of been. It's Nebraska, man. I think they're going to lose in the second round. I do think they get their first win, so good for them. Upset A&M over St. Mary's. I like what you said earlier, Sam. I think A&M is very good, and I think that they probably deserved a better seed than they got. So I think they take out St. Mary's pretty easy. And if you ask me, nobody wants to play Vanderbilt right now. They look pretty dang good. Their guards are fast. It's an athletic team, a team that's shooting the ball well, and a team that can upset just about anybody. And I don't think Florida wants to see them. How did they get paired up to face Florida in the Sweet 16? Florida's got to be pissed. Like, you just lost by 20 to these dudes, and now you got to play them just to make an Elite Eight. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out.
So true.
Like, I'll take everyone. I think the best team here is Florida. I don't know how much they had try in them to get Vandy, where Vandy was fighting for everything. And I think that'll explain your 20-point loss, but I think Florida's the best team. Houston is very good, but they struggle with big front lines, and that's exactly what Florida has. I don't see anybody that has a front line that can battle with, like, just Chinulu by himself. And then you add in Condon and Hoff. It's very good team. The obvious most vulnerable is North Carolina, but I like Nebraska to be the most vulnerable too. Any team that lives by the 3, dies by the 3 kind of deal, and that's Nebraska's whole thing. I think they're still searching for that first win. I like Troy in that game. And I think the team nobody wants to play is Illinois.
Oh, yeah.
I know recently they've been giving up double-digit leads, but if they ever figure out how to hold on to one of those, they build up double-digit leads like it's nobody's business. They're big. They play solid defense. They don't turn the ball over.
They're finally healthy, too.
Yeah. We've got a stud and a guy you can give the ball to at any point for a shot. And Wagler, we got a great point guard, Boswell. I like the coach, too. I think that's the team you do not want to see whatsoever. And my upset pick is the Troy over Nebraska. Nebraska goes cold for a half. There's a reason, like the whole saying before the books caught up was you take the first half unders in the first round, and then you come back and close it with an over. I think that first half goes way under, and Nebraska's cold, and they can't dig themselves out of the hole.
Yeah, for me here, Jake, I'm gonna say the best team in this region is Illinois, and I know they haven't been playing their best basketball, but they are, in my opinion, the best constructed team out of this group. And they're also my team you don't want to see. One, because they're capable of doing fantastic things inside and out. They have a stud in Wagler, who I hope winds up at the Pacers. They have shooting everywhere. They have size, they have athleticism, they're explosive, they have a great point guard. And then if you're the other team and you have to read the scouting report, I mean, you're going to need a phonetic counselor to walk you through on pronunciation. So they're like checking all the boxes for me. From an upset standpoint, I do see Nebraska getting their first win. So I'm gonna hop off that train. I want it for Nebraska. I think Hoiberg's a hell of a coach. I think he deserved Coach of the Year in the Big Ten, regardless of all the controversy around Dusty May. I feel like he grew a team as opposed to bought one. So that's why I say give him Coach of the Year. So I hope for Nebraska fans and for the Big Ten and for the Hoiberg family, they get that first dub. My upset is going to be Texas A&M over St. Mary's, and I'm not 100% sure you can call that an upset.
Right.
I think hell committee approval here. I think Texas A&M is going to win that game.
So now that we've all picked that means St. Mary's is going to win by 30.
Yeah, St. Mary's going to blow them out.
That's the way it works.
Sam, you took everything I was going to say, so I'll switch it up. Best team, Houston. Most vulnerable, top seed. Man, I'm going to go with Illinois as the most vulnerable. I'll switch it up on it because while they are one of the best teams, they also have that tendency to Underwood, and they have Underwood as a coach. So they're those Euro style players that when they turn it on, like KJ last year, it's like, man, he's great. But when they're not, like Merck and all them, they're not. Like Stojankovic, when he's off, he's off. So they'll be the most vulnerable and probably my best upset candidate in the second round. Give me I got VCU beating North Carolina, so give me VCU over Illinois in a crazy Cinderella march downhill. We're going out on a limb here. We're getting wild.
I don't think that's that far of a limb. That is a
I watch VCU. Yeah, they're pretty tough, and the team nobody wants to play from this region. I'm gonna go with Nebraska because they got senior leadership and
they get hot.
As well as they can get beat when they shouldn't. They also, I've seen them beat teams that they shouldn't beat.
Yeah. They were a lot of fun to watch this year, that's for sure.
All right. Then let's do the West.
West. I hate to do this. Best team is Arizona. I want to say Purdue, but it's just not true at the moment, but watch out for them. But yeah, Arizona's the best team. Most vulnerable team, and they're also maybe one of the most dangerous, is Wisconsin. They have proven all year that they can lose to anybody and they can beat anybody. And it all depends on which version of Wisconsin shows up to that game. So I just see a world where they lose first round. I also see a world where they beat Arizona, like I said earlier. But I think probably the former is more likely. Wisconsin historically gets into these funks where they get really guard heavy and the guards go cold and the whole game collapses on top of their heads. So we'll see how that goes. But upset pick is Gonzaga. I have them losing second round, but there's a chance they lose first round too. I'm completely out on Gonzaga being able to beat any team inside of the top 50. They played Michigan. I think there should be a new rule that if you lose by 40 at any point, you can't make the tournament. It's just like, how are you in this tournament? How are you a 3 seed? You lost by 40 on a neutral court. It wasn't even a road game. So crazy. And then I did team no one wants to play. So Wisconsin's my most vulnerable. They're also the team no one wants to play because they just go beat everybody that they're not supposed to beat. So this is an exciting bracket for me because obviously Purdue's in it, but the top half, I'm interested to see how Wisconsin handles this tournament.
Yeah, I agree. Arizona's the best team in this. I've been on the Arizona bandwagon for a long time. I was leading the charge on that for a bit in the preseason. So I think they're the best team. I don't think it's as far as I would have liked it to be to make me feel right about my call of them making it to the Final Four, but they are the best team in this bracket. I think your most vulnerable is Arkansas. I don't trust the supporting cast around AKEF. You put AKEF on almost any other team. That's at the 4 seed or higher. That's probably your championship team. I think the coach and the supporting cast around him are too inconsistent on everything and could very easily go cold. And in today's game against Vandy, it was a 2-point game. Brazil shooting threes. You can't bank on that because the guy, I think he's like a 30% shooter on the year. But at the same time, if he's hot, he's hot. Like they can.
He was nasty down the stretch.
Well, yeah. He's absolutely won in the game, hitting threes, then blocking the shot, then come down and hit another three. Like, the guy's he's an incredible talent. He just shows up 3 out of every 4 games, and the one time he doesn't is when you need him. But yeah, so I think they're the most vulnerable for the upset. The team nobody wants to play, I think, is Missouri. They are a very intense defensive team. They've got a great coach and Dennis Gates, and they lack a little bit of offensive presence, but they've shown it where they beat Florida. They went to Kentucky. They beat Kentucky. They handled Tennessee. They've played well, but at the same time, they've got losses to like South Carolina and stuff like that. So I don't think anybody wants to play them, but it's not anybody I would trust to do anything. And the upset pick, I think BYU feels like a story for them to be upset in the first round to me. There's always one of those playing games that does something, and
it's true.
BYU struggled all year to put 40 minutes together. If Tabansa goes cold for 5 minutes, this team's in a lot of trouble. And I don't think they rebound that well. I don't think they defend that well. And without him going ballistic, they're not that good. So I think in a tournament setting that this can really get him if he's not dropping 40.
I kind of forgot about that. There usually is one of those 11s in the play-in that beats a 6. Like it's almost.
I'm praying it's any of them, but the one that plays Tennessee. So
Yeah.
pick every other one, so it's not the one that plays Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Arizona's the best team in this region. They've proven that, all well-built team. Now, that's not to say I don't like the potential matchup between Purdue and Arizona because they don't shoot a lot of threes. So I love that for if that were to hypothetically happen. My team, I don't want to play, and as a Purdue fan, Queens, high double-digit seeds, seem like a Matt Painter kryptonite. So that's just me going off of PTSD here. So no, Queens is not a team I want to play. I think Purdue handles them for sure, but my upset pick here, I want to do it. I want to say Fins up because I think that's a fun story. And as dangerous as I think Wisconsin is, I think this is where High Point comes in. Everybody was picking High Point over Purdue last year. I don't think people are going to be doing that this year with Wisconsin. So I'm gonna hop in front of this one and say High Point over Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin a fantastic team. I think they're the team outside of Queens because Purdue fan who's seen us lose to every double-digit seed imaginable outside of a 14. Thank God we didn't get a 3 line. I like this High Point team. I think they got some swag about them. They got a nothing to lose attitude about them. Give me High Point over Wisconsin.
Hey, Sam, real quick, can I calm you a little bit on Queens?
Yes.
Okay, so they've played Villanova, Virginia, Arkansas, and Auburn. Those are the 4 big teams they've played. They've lost by an average of 28 points, giving up 90 plus to every one of them. And none of those teams are nearly as good on offense as Purdue. And they've also lost to 7 teams sub 1.
I mean, they're 15.
Again,
they're horrible.
Hold on. I've tried to be calm through North Texas. I've tried to be calm through St. Peter's.
It's not happening. Not this year, buddy. Dalton yelled at me last night on our pod because I said there ain't a way in the world it's happening. It ain't happening. Not this year.
Don't say those words.
The floor is too high for Purdue. We have too many seniors, too many guys that have been there and done that. It ain't happening.
Yes,
anyway,
I 100% agree.
You know what? I hear
not to hate on Queens all the time. Perhaps the first year eligible, you made it. You were so good at D2 or D3, whatever you were. They said, please don't come back. And here you are showing up that it wasn't a fluke. Your first year eligible, you're here.
And they played a lot of
I'm
teams.
going to take the boiler burner route here and say all you fake Purdue fans to the back. I hear a lot of wishy-washiness, and I don't like it. The best team in this bracket, it's Purdue. The most vulnerable top seed, easily Gonzaga. That's the low-hanging fruit. They're terrible, and I don't ever believe in Mark Few. The best upset candidate will be Arizona when Purdue beats them. And the team nobody wants to play. Also, take a guess, boys. What am I about to say?
Queens.
Yeah.
Queens.
I want to play Oscar Clough, basically. Oscar Clough will finish you. If Oscar Clough keeps rolling, Purdue doesn't lose.
The Moose.
6 more.
Can we sidebar for just a second? Where was this Oscar Clough for about a month and a half?
Was he in too many engineering classes?
No.
He's a grad student. He ain't studying nothing.
He was taking a long Australian nap, bro, on the
they have to hibernate over there.
Sunshine Coast.
I've been saying it all week. I think I'm in 8 different text groups about Purdue basketball, and where's this defense been? Where's this Oscar Clough been?
Well, they finally put Jacobson on the bench.
Yeah, Jacobson came in for 30 seconds at one point. It was minus 11.
Minus 8 in 3 minutes today. Solid.
But you know what? I liked some of the Jacobson minutes in the UCLA game.
I hate every one of them.
I'm saying I liked some of them, but I'm happier with the Bender minutes. I'd like to see his shot kind of level out. He feels like he's very streaky, but I'm just going back to off the sidebar here. I just want to know from Purdue fans, where was this Oscar Clough? A month and a half ago when we were fighting for, a Big Ten championship. Thank God he showed up, and hopefully he's here to stay.
Yeah, I'll add to that real quick. I think sometimes as fans, we accept that shooters go into slumps, but we don't accept that big guys do as well.
Right.
And I think that there was a point in this season where, just the physicality of a big time conference probably overwhelmed him, at least briefly. He got through that. He powered through it. His stamina appears to be better. Maybe he was sick for a couple weeks. We don't know.
Yep.
But I accept that if we, like you said, if we get this version of him, that's a changer for Purdue, because TKR, it allows TKR to not have to do the dirty work as much and be able to, like he has recently, go score the ball, go to the basket, do those kind of things. So yeah, it's been great to see him come back, and hopefully it continues.
It's opened things up for sure.
Every time I think of Osterkloff, I think of a moose.
He is
It's just like a charged moose. They don't exist, but Osterkloff is one. No, I love the way he played today.
I wish he would stop hitting people.
No, he
No, hit
needs
him.
to continue that.
No, like when he's
That's
got 2 fouls in the first half.
Well,
and
yeah,
then
that was
truck somebody. Like, come on.
that was a dumb foul. He about did it again late in the game on a
Mara's
rebound. He slammed a
soft.
dude. Mara's
Mara's
a
a
little,
soft little baby.
yeah.
Well, yeah, Braden spent the entire second half showing how soft Mara was.
Yeah,
He's like, yeah, let's get this 7-foot, 6-foot switch here, and
yeah.
I'm just gonna take you to school.
Let's go.
Anyway, yeah, we went off topic here, but it's what we have to do.
No, that is totally fine. Well, let's roll over and talk about the team that the region where Michigan lands. Those guys. That region.
Yeah, this is where I'll show now that I've been inspired by Dalton by being a bad Purdue fan. So Michigan can't be the best team in this region. I'm going to go with Iowa State as the best team in this region. Some teams can beat Purdue by 23. Some teams lose to Purdue. Iowa State's the team that beat them. So I'm going to go with I just think Iowa State has like almost a perfect roster build for March Madness. Extremely good defensively, elite scorers. A very good big man who's versatile. I just like what they do all around, and I think that they can go through anybody. Most vulnerable team is Texas Tech. I think that's the easy option here. No JT Toppin. That could be a 5-12 upset. He changes so much for them, and they haven't really had to prove it a ton. They've had some decent wins without him, but they're vulnerable. Upset pick, I think a lot of people are going to take it's Akron over Texas Tech. I just think Akron's really good. Purdue played them earlier this year. I'm convinced we won by 40. Dalton says we won by 8. We'll see how that shakes out. And then my team no one wants to play, and I don't think anybody else will agree with this. Alabama can still score the hell out of the basketball, and I don't think you want to see Alabama in a tournament setting on a game where they go nuclear from 3 and score 98 points on you. They can do it to anybody. They've played one of the hardest, if not the hardest schedule in America. They are battle tested. They have an elite guard. They have the makeup of what a team can kind of go on a run and make a Final Four that nobody really expects to do so. So I like Alabama.
God, I hope not.
Yeah, please no. Yeah, Michigan is the best team out in this conference or this region. Iowa State's offense just too inconsistent for me to want to pick them. And then
It's fair.
their big guys are a little soft. Not Jefferson, but Momilievich and the other guys are a little bit soft. They'd rather be guards on the 3-point line than they would down low. And I think this is a terrible region to have that problem because everybody except for Alabama, you're going to be at a disadvantage. So I like Michigan in this conference to be conference region. Get your terms right, Jake. The most vulnerable team, this absolutely kills me to say, but it's Tennessee. The fact that you can go have 30 offensive rebounds in a game and score 6 points off them is a tragic number for any team. Making those numbers up, but they definitely had more.
Okay, I was like, damn.
No, they and against Vandy, they had more offensive rebounds than they had second chance points. So that's not good because one of those you get to count by 2 or 3. But I think that makes you very vulnerable because the offense just isn't there. And typical Rick Barnes teams have an ultra mega elite defense, and this team doesn't have it yet. And the Vandy game is a perfect example. Ament goes cold, the offense doesn't know what to do. But then you look at the game before that, Ament goes nuclear, and this team looks really freaking good. So the variance there also makes them very vulnerable. The upset pick I'm going with, just kind of shock a little bit. I'm going to go with Santa Clara. I think Kentucky struggles to put games together. I think Santa Clara they were gifted a seed. They were gifted a great matchup for them. They shoot the ball well. They're long and athletic. Everything that gives Kentucky trouble. Kentucky's not looked particularly great coming soon. I mean, they struggled with LSU, then struggled with whoever was after that, and then got beat by Florida pretty good. And so I think they're on the struggle bus right now. Pope just seems to lose all his great coaching ability as soon as the tournament gets involved. And it just sucks because I like him. The team nobody wants to play is Virginia. They are playing very, very good basketball right now. I was watching that Duke game in the ACC championship. Whoever that big guy is, I forget his name, but he blocked, I think, 7,000 shots. When you have a guy like that and you've got some guards that can go with a coach like Odom who beat Virginia to be the first 16 over a 1 seed, the guy knows what to do. They can put the team together. They've got a 3 seed, so they've got kind of an easy-ish route for a 3 seed as well, because drawing an 11 seed or Tennessee in the next round shouldn't be a bother for them. That's who I would want to see if I was Michigan, because they can square up with you, or Iowa State. Like, that's nobody I want to see.
Yeah, so best team in this region is Michigan, and I'm gonna put an asterisk by that because there's cracks. And regardless of them losing to Purdue, because you played 3 games in 3 days, there's fatigue and all that stuff. Shit happens. Purdue was on an absolute heater when they came out with a W, obviously 4 games, 4 days, so they had some momentum. What I saw in this Michigan team that concerned me was last night against Wisconsin. The game was tied and they went down and yada, yada, yada. They huddled up. They were smiling. They were like backing each other up. In this game, they got down by like 10 or 11 and they're all yelling at each other. And to me, that's the stuff that you see when they start cracking like that. That's going to turn out bad in the tournament. I still think they're the best team, but that Iowa State team is a 1B right now in this region. The most vulnerable team, Jake, I hate to do this to you, Brad.
I just did.
Tennessee. It's Tennessee. It's like confirmation bias, right? Where you just want somebody to disagree with you. Unfortunately, I can't do that here. I love Tennessee. Like, there are times where they have stretches where I'm like, God, if they just played like this for 40 minutes, they'd be unstoppable. And like, you have Ament minutes, you have Gillespie minutes, you just like,
they're frustrating.
Yeah, it's frustrating. It's just like when they stop playing the way they can play for stretches of time. It's like how I felt about Purdue multiple times this season, where it's just like, you guys are so much better in this. What are you doing? So I think they're vulnerable. I think my upset pick here, it's Akron over Texas Tech. You got topping out. You have some lingering issues from playing on the Big 12 court with some of the players on Texas Tech. I mean, Anderson went down a little bit. It's just hard for me to pick Texas Tech to do anything of value without one of the best players in college basketball. So I think they're extremely vulnerable, and I think they're extremely gettable here by this Akron team. But yeah, that's what I'll go with in the Midwest. I just want to put that editor's note back in there. If you're wondering what I'm saying about Michigan, I am not doubting their capabilities at all. But go back and watch the huddle, like right towards the end, like middle of the second half, when things were going sideways for them. There were cracks in that foundation, and I think that's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I'll jump in. Best team is Iowa State, hands down. I just think that the Big 12 scheduling and the Big 12 as a conference is extremely challenging and tough. To watch somebody boat race Purdue at Mackey by 23, like Derek said, is incredible. The most vulnerable top seed, I'm going to go with, I don't know, do you consider 6 a top seed? Because I'm going to say Tennessee is the most vulnerable top seed.
You guys kick a man while he's down. That's fine.
God, just picking on these.
I'm just being honest with you. They are the best upset candidate for me.
He's already dead.
I'm hot on SMU. I'm hot on SMU over them. I don't think Miami, Ohio can outscore SMU. I think SMU's played better competition. I think they'll be ready to handle Miami. Miami's unproven for me. 31 wins for what? So give me SMU over Tennessee. And the team nobody wants to play is going to be the same for me. Iowa State, nobody wants to play them in March, because defense wins championships, and they're one of the best defensive teams in the country.
The SMU thing, I wouldn't be shocked to me if Miami, Ohio wins that, because they're going to feel like the underdogs and they're going to be at home.
Yeah, it's 15 minutes from where they're.
It's like, yeah, they can walk to the campus. Like, they won't, but SMU is the better team. You've got the right read. Just won't be shocking to me if Miami, Ohio figures it out, because they're basically playing a home game. And I don't
think SMU is going to win by 40.
Yeah, that's the team I want Tennessee to play, is that Miami. I don't want to see SMU, because they're a much better team, much better coached team. So that might be my heart talking more than my head.
2 best upsets in double digit. 2 best upsets, and they don't even collide here. That's not a word. Whatever, you get what I'm saying. A&M over St. Mary's, not a huge upset, but I think I'm most confident in that one. And then I think VCU takes down North Carolina. Pretty confident that that's going to happen. I just don't really buy into it, North Carolina. double digit to make the Sweet 16. I love South Florida, and I just love that they get Michigan State in the next round, because Michigan State is a team that they can get to times where they just can't score the ball. And I think that there's a world where South Florida finds their way to a Sweet 16.
Yeah, my favorite two upsets, I like Santa Clara over Kentucky. I think that's one I'm most confident in.
Love it.
Along with Akron over Texas Tech. I think those two are my favorite two, just taking advantage of parts where they're strong. But I think of teams to make the deepest run for this double-digit seed that was most fun, I think Akron or maybe High Point, those teams, their path gets there. Like, I'm with you with South Florida. It's just, I think the pace of play lets Michigan State get away with some stuff. So if they're playing fast, it lets Fears get comfortable and lets him stomp on somebody's foot or kick him in between the legs or something and cause some big play. But I think Akron or High Point are solid teams that the matchups as they go far kind of not bend their way, but they're not out of their way.
Yeah. If we're going with the most confident upset, it's definitely Akron for me. I think it's there. And no disrespect to what Texas Tech did all year. I think they were absolutely fantastic at times outside of their trip to the Bahamas. And then I think I'm going to go, it's not a confident one, but my next big upset is High Point. I mentioned that earlier over Wisconsin. And just a fun scenario here. I'm just again, painting a hypothetical. Imagine a Cinderella High Point run where they get a rematch with Purdue for a trip to the Final Four. That's the wooden door I'm knocking on right now. I'd love to see that. Obviously, paint the easiest path possible, right? But I think this High Point team is capable of a Cinderella run. I think it'd be one of those stories that'll be fun for college basketball. How realistic is it? I don't know, but like I said before, I'll say it a million times, like right before the Big Ten tournament, I'm going with denial. So give me High Point as an upset and a runner here.
First year coach says that'd be entertaining. Nobody knows what he's going to do in this scenario.
Yeah, my two come from the same bracket. I'm going VCU over North Carolina, and I'm going A&M over St. Mary's. And my team that I like that's a double-digit seed is kind of a cheat, but it's number 10 A&M. I think they can get Houston out of every one of the two seeds. I believe that A&M could pull that off. If Houston has a bad day shooting three, the refs are calling actual fouls, and Houston...
Not a push.
Yeah, I mean, Houston's going to have a hard time holding up. It's just they don't. And I'll say that about Iowa State, too, is like there's a difference between playing good defense and getting away with things. And I think that they are two teams that really tiptoe that line. And I think you get one bad officiating game in a tournament setting, and it could upset the ship for either one of them.
So who was it, Lord? In the championship week, they lost on a buzzer beater, but team came out. Guy came off the bench to hug his player that made the buzzer beater with time still on the clock. That should have been a tee, and the refs didn't call it. So you get something like that ends you pretty quick.
Poor Robbie Avila, by the way. Like, how many times this got to happen to that kid?
Cursed.
I'm sorry. What were we going to go for the next section?
Are we going to do Final Fours and picks?
Or the first top seed to go down? I think you
first top seed to go down.
Yeah,
that's right.
Final Four and picks, then the lightning round.
Yeah, the benefit of going first here is I get the layup. I'm going to go with Gonzaga. I just don't buy anything to do with Gonzaga. They could lose first round. If not, hopefully they play early in the second round so that I can still get this, and they're the first seed to go down in the second round. But yeah, I think Gonzaga is going to go down early. And I did want to throw in, because we had this on the list, the softest team is Michigan State, and that is why I'm fading them. And some people believe otherwise. I think Michigan State's soft as butter. Needed to get that out.
I think one of the most vulnerable ones is UConn. The way they have, I think the way they let teams hang around that shouldn't hang around is bad news in a tournament scenario, especially one if Furman, or is that who they play? Yeah. You let that team breathe life in the first, have some life in the first 10 minutes of the second half, you may be in some trouble, because they're playing with nothing to lose, and your butthole gets real tight. So I think they could very easily be the top, or 1 through 4 seed to go down. I don't think it'll be Furman, but I could see that being very, very easy to then we go down to the next game, or even Furman.
Yeah, Jake, you took mine. It was going to be UConn, but since I have to pick somebody else now, I'm going to go Kansas. If we're going 1 through 4, it just depends on if Peterson decides he wants to play or not. And also if this team, and no pun intended here, doesn't self-destruct.
Self-destruct.
And then
love that.
Going softest, I personally think the softest team is UConn. And again, I work with Braylon Mullins' uncle. After watching the Big East tournament, as I've tried to be supportive, and I've tried to say that, UConn's got a great team and a great coach and great players. They looked soft as butter that entire tournament. And sure, they won up until St. John's, but there was nothing that they did that looked tough or capable of going on any real run in March. And maybe they turn it around, but it looked soft to me.
Yeah, give me Virginia for both. Nobody's talking about it. The ACC is weak. Big East is weak. ACC is weak. Virginia, their best win, let's see, was over number 20 Louisville this year. So
Which
I don't know. I'm not sure why everyone's so high on Virginia. I don't see it. Haven't watched a lot of them, but by the numbers, they are looking to get bounced pretty early. And they'll have a matchup with SMU after Tennessee gets beat by them. Jake, I'm sorry.
You're good. No, that's you're
Just-
God's.
I'm
Nothing I
getting-
haven't said. I have been high on this. I kind of want it to happen because I'm ready to get rid of Barnes. I don't think
Doesn't he
he's
have a
got
lifetime? Yeah, where's he going?
I don't know. Put him down at this point. If it's a lifetime contract, put him
My
down.
God.
And see if you can move your team to Canada for a couple months and get those assisted departures there, Jake.
Boy.
I mean, nothing against the guy. I think he's a great coach. He's an incredible coach. He is. We had an issue with Bruce Pearl where we had a chance to slip back into irrelevancy, and he saved us. Back-to-back Elite Eight's incredible. I just don't think he's the guy to get it done. I think he's a dinosaur and not involving with the game. But I'm ready to move on to see something else because I've seen this story and I don't think it ends where I want it to end.
I think he's evolved well with the NIL side of things and accepting that and the need for that. But when it comes to actual X's and O's, no, I think we're very, very, very old school.
You know what's
To a
funny?
fault.
SMU beat Virginia in the season, so
One of SMU's better players started out at Tennessee. Baylor's best player started out at Tennessee. These guys transfer out and then become studs. What are we doing wrong?
Then a walk-up for Arizona, one of the best men off the bench that you can ask for.
6 men of the year to the Big 12, one of the best, probably the best conference this year. And then, go back. DJ Burns started out at Tennessee. There's just a lot of offensive talent we're letting walk out the door.
you forgot to say Edie's son, DJ Burns.
Yeah.
That guy was an offensive center in football.
DJ Burns learned how to eat good in Tennessee.
They did.
Man, they did him so dirty when he was in the G League, and they gave him that
Oh, dude, I knew you were gonna
medium jersey.
Yeah, that was bad.
The human snow globe.
That's good. All right, let's get to the goods. Let's get to the goods here. Let's hear your all's Final Four and championship picks.
All right, I'll get first because I know mine's gonna be different than probably everyone's. I will stand by the fact that no one seed makes the Final Four here. My Final Four picks are going to be Iowa State and Purdue in that side of the bracket. Illinois, I think that's it. I don't know. I don't remember the exact regions, but Iowa State, Purdue, Illinois, and Kansas. I think Darren Peterson finally takes something seriously for 4 or 5 games here. And I think when he does, when you got the best player in the country, sometimes you just start beating people. I got Purdue winning the national title, however. I will not go away from it. 6 more. Here we come. Let's go.
I love it.
I got, let's see, from the East, I'm going to take Duke. I've got Illinois coming out of the South. Unfortunately, I got Michigan coming out of the Midwest and Arizona coming out of the West. And I got Duke and Arizona fighting it out, and I think Duke takes it. Provided Foster comes back. Foster doesn't come back till Arizona. We'll have the first team since 2000 west of the Mississippi to win it all.
All right, here we go. Now, because I picked a monster upset with Ohio State, Jake Diebler, Coach of the Year, going over Duke here. I've got to go. I'm going to go Michigan State. I'm going to go Houston on the left side of the bracket, and then I'm going to go Purdue and Michigan on the right side of the bracket. and give me Purdue as a national title, because here's my thing. I'm a Boiler. I'm going to live in denial. I'm going to die in denial. I said it when we were collapsing. I was the most down I've been as a Purdue fan in a while, but then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to win the Big Ten tournament. Guess what Purdue did? They rattled off 4 straight, and they looked good doing it. I think they're going to rattle off 6 more, and I think they're going to look good doing it. Give me denial. Give me gold. Give me Purdue all the way here.
Boom.
Yeah, I'll go Duke. And then I'm going to go Vanderbilt coming out of the South.
You just like that black and gold. You're just picking it wherever you can.
I love it. It's
Yeah,
my
where's
favorite
Northwestern
thing.
at?
The most biased heavy corner you'll ever experience in your life.
Let's go Midwest, Michigan. I think they figure out a way to get it done. I think it will be a chalk matchup between them and Iowa State, but I think Michigan does it. And then give me Purdue out of the West. And we'll go with a Purdue-Duke final, a classic. Bill Raftery will be losing his mind. And give me Purdue. Give me Purdue. I ain't no wishy-washy boy.
You don't want to see Duke and Indianapolis. They're undefeated here.
Yeah.
That's fine. And nobody's undefeated
Until
against
they're
Oscar
not.
Clough. Oscar Clough is Duke's daddy. You heard it here first, brother.
He's going to put Cam Boozer on his lap and pat him on the back.
If you can't tell, I've been high on Oscar Clough since the day they said we signed him. I've been hammering it.
Hey, before we get to these rapid fire, I did want to say one thing. Braden Smith is now 1 assist away from tying the all-time record of assists. So that's across college basketball. Pretty a cool thing that's going to happen in the very first round.
Yeah.
So, obviously he's going to get 2 assists and break it by himself and be the single holder of that record. So I just thought that was something that was cool. I was hoping it was going to happen today just to get that distraction out of the way. But luckily it's going to happen so early in that game that I don't think it's going to be too big. But still a pretty cool thing, a record that stood for as long as I've been alive. So, pretty crazy that it's about to be broken.
Fun little fact
Hurley
there,
family.
in the conference tournament, the number of assists, like he broke that in the first game of the conference tournament, and then proceeded to add close to 30 more assists on top of that. And given basically the nature of college basketball these days, and the fact there are no seniors, there's only one player who has even a remote shot of sniffing that and the all-time record, and that's Jeremy Fears. Assuming that somebody doesn't just beat his ass in the parking lot for being a punk.
Didn't he get shot once?
We could see a record.
Again.
We could see a record Friday night that may never ever get broken.
Yeah.
Give me that.
No, that is special. I'm glad you mentioned that, Derek, because I was kind of hoping that would happen today, but at the same time, I was like, I hope they're not going to try to force it and make it too big of a distraction. But yeah, this will happen early on in the first round, and definitely something for any basketball fan. You don't want to miss it because it will probably not be broken. I think that's very fair. All right, for our lightning round, as we close out a little bit here. Let's close out with best coach in the tournament.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2 here because I'm going to throw Matt Painter in here. A guy who's been to the title game, but I'm going to go with Kelvin Sampson. I just love what that guy's all about. I love the way he handles business, and I think he's a great coach that really doesn't get the credit of like the Hurleys and the Patinos just because he's not as boisterous as those guys. But man, I just love the way his team is always there. They're always competitive. They're always hard-nosed. They're tough to beat. And I root for them when they're not playing Purdue. I really do. I think he's an ideal coach now that you're allowed to cheat. But back, when he was with Indiana, he was a worthless piece of shit.
I think Shire is the guy. I don't think he gets near the credit he deserves for because he got handed the Duke basketball brand, and so people like to say, "Oh, he's at Duke," but he's also the fastest to 120 wins out of anybody, fastest out of 100. Every year in the tournament, he goes one step farther than he did the last time. If you start looking into like in-depth stats, he's the best coach out of a timeout for baseline in of bounds, sideline out of bounds. And if he could have just figured out how to beat a press break or make a press break against Houston last year, they probably win it all. I think that's hurt our team all year, and that's why we're seeing this Duke team outperform last year's Duke team. That was way more talented.
Yeah, Jake, I'm gonna ride with you on this one. Shire's done nothing but win, and you could say, yeah, he inherited Duke. Well, look, Mark Pope took over Kentucky. It's not voting particularly well there. You know, like you have some great coaches in great areas that seem to be floundering in this modern era of basketball, and Shire doesn't hit the portal quite like some of these other coaches do that buy teams. And now granted, a lot of money's involved here, but he's still taking freshmen and getting them to the mountaintop here. So, and he's gotten further each time. So, you know, he's done nothing but win. Now, from a nostalgia standpoint, you know, like I said, when I was younger, I hated him. When I was like in my 30s, I respected him. And now I just genuinely like the guy, I like listening to talk. But Tom is, I don't think his team gets it done this year. But my God, I love that coach. That is like, I wish he held Fears a little bit more accountable, but really love the man. And I don't know how much longer we're going to get to see him do this. So respect to Tom Izzo.
Yeah, give me Cal. I really hated Cal and how he handled things before this year.
How do I
But
turn my screen off?
Can we
hearing
just
him
kick you out
talk,
now?
hey, calm down. I gave everyone else their space
Control
to
Alt
talk.
Delete. No, I do. I love
Listen.
Coach Cal, actually.
Listen, the way he talked about how everything was happening with the dumbass pros coming back and everything, it really changed my outlook on how Cal sees the game now. Is he always going to play fair? No. You know, if they went back, they'd probably put a lot of asterisks by his stuff, but the dude has won everywhere he's went. You can't fault him on that level. I mean, that was back when recruiting was recruiting. I mean, he went to Memphis, did well there.
Took
He
Derek
was
Rose's
good at
ACT for him.
UMass. I mean, he was at UMass and he won there. He took him to a Final Four at UMass in the 90s. I went to Kentucky, just ran things there, and now he's back at Arkansas. Took him to a Sweet 16 his first year after reconstructing a roster completely.
You'll never get me to buy that argument because everywhere he's gone, the Final Four doesn't count anymore at either of those schools. UMass, because Hayslip, all that was dirty. Memphis, somebody took Derek Rose's ACT for him because the guy couldn't spell his name. So that doesn't work well. Plus, I also hate him for Memphis. Kentucky, that's fine. But anytime you ask him to brag about his accomplishments, it's not his winning. He brags about his players, how much they get paid in the NBA. Not what I want out of my coach.
Dalton, I'm gonna back you up here right quick, just because one thing he like. I'm not a Cal fan. I think the game was going to catch up to him, and it really hasn't, because once everybody can play players, it gets a little bit more challenging, and he's been doing it for a long time under the blanket of the SEC. Okay, Brad.
Never denied it.
But the one thing when he did say, like, he was like about what should happen with you know, college basketball players and like agreements with teams and things like that, I didn't disagree with, and I was shocked to find myself nodding my head along with anything that Cal said. So Dalton, I'm gonna back you up there. I think he's a great program builder. I think he's a great he can build a team out of, I would say, scrap parts, but it's not really that. It's like the best of what he can find and what he can afford. But he's won everywhere. Just some of them just don't count.
That's fair. And I'm not saying he's my favorite coach. I was just going off the wall. I could have taken the low-hanging fruit and picked Matt Painter because, I mean, he recruits to a cornfield in Indiana. But I went with, you know, a little off the wall right there.
Yeah, if you
just
haven't
like
watched the Calipari not one and done 30 for 30, you'll like him a little bit more. I think he really does care about his players. I will say that.
You'll never convince me to care about him. He's coached at the two schools I coached with, Memphis and Kentucky. Like, at no point, and now he's at Arkansas, like another team I don't like. So I'm like, at no point will I ever like this guy.
Gentlemen, we
It's
are
like,
not going
it's
to
like
win this
Roy
war.
Williams. Roy Williams blaming got mad because the reason we fired Buzz Peterson was because popcorn wasn't selling. So he's like, "Oh, coaches are responsible for selling popcorn." No, I guess nobody was in the standings to buy the popcorn because our team sucked.
Yeah,
that's why.
It was just
Like,
me.
it was just that was the thing. He's like, "Hey, we're not making money off popcorn because nobody's here."
All right. So to keep on the coaches theme here, is that what coach will land a new job after their tournament performance?
I'm going to two-part this real quick, just because I did want to. We had Bracket Buster on here, and I wanted to earn Jake's love back. And my Bracket Buster is kind of opposite what everyone in this thing said. I think Tennessee is going to make a Sweet 16. I love their draw. I absolutely love it. I think they will beat the dog shit out of Virginia. They've lost 6 games by a combined 20 points since January 3rd. I don't think they're as bad as people are making them out to be. I think that they've had some unfortunate ending to basketball games, and I think that they're going to make a run in March. Anyway.
Love it.
My coach that lands a job is the same team I said is going to make a Sweet 16 as a double-digit seed, Brian Hogston out of South Florida. I just think he's going to make a run here. I think he's already got another job lined up, which makes this a little bit easier. But I think that, this kind of just is going to cement it if he gets a victory in March.
Is he going to Syracuse? Is that the consensus?
Probably.
It's rumored. That's rumored, but there's Arizona State is like he is the hot commodity. He's the hot chick at the dance right now. That everybody's wanting. So he's I'm in the tournament. I got to prepare. Just letting offers roll in. But while I'm talking, I'll go next. I like John Gross, however you say his name, out of Akron. He's just won 3 MAC titles in a row. The guy's a very, very good coach. He's got a team that he's built this Akron program out of nowhere. Every year it gets a little more fun. They get a little. He had some run at Illinois, didn't go his way, but the last year when he got fired, he was 20-15. So it's not like he was doing terrible at Illinois. I think he'll get his second shot somewhere here and absolutely take advantage of that.
Quick clarification. Are we saying lands a new job or just lands a job?
Brad Underwood's finally going to be working at Chick-fil-A.
Jake.
Take it how you want it.
Yeah.
Jake Diebler. So my thing is like he was just like this like interim coach and against a middling Ohio State team. And every year I feel like he is just doing a little bit more that just like nobody saw it in the books. Nobody saw it on the roster. Nobody saw it throughout the year. And then he just kind of pieces together these big wins. I mean, he's 3-0 against Matt Painter. Sorry to bring it to light here, but it's the reality of what it is. Jake Diebler is coaching his way into like a long-term contract, and good for him because I kind of like the guy. I mean, we dog on him sometimes, but just imagine the storyline of Jake Diebler coaches mighty Ohio State over Duke, which is my like long shot 99.9% wrong prediction here. I think the dude's doing enough to not only land himself the Ohio State job on a permanent basis, but get a pretty healthy contract extension after this year.
Yeah. Give me Bill Armstrong. He follows in Will Wade's footsteps at McNeese and takes him to a 12 seed. He might be riding off the coattails of Will Wade being there and what he's built at McNeese, but I think he'll be a hot commodity for maybe a lower level P5 conference coaching jobs.
Well, and I think Derek mentioned he mentioned who would bust the most brackets. Did anybody else want to contribute to that as well? I was going to come back around to that one, but I wanted to keep the coaches lined up. It's all right, Derek. Just this one time, though.
You're good. I think you could look at Virginia. Just because I think a lot of people have the opinion of Virginia not being good and the ACC being weak, which is all fair points. I think they could bust it up based on how they play defense and their coach. I think they can sneak in and grab some teams. And I also think Utah State is one of those teams, too, that can absolutely surprise some teams. That team is a very, very good team.
I forgot about them, to be honest with you.
They're a 9 seed, so like it's taking out also with the ability to take out Arizona quick would pop a lot of brackets off.
Yeah. I'm going to triple down and go Ohio State and High Point. We're just going to, like, you can clip this 4 or 5 times when both these teams get absolutely shattered in the first rounds.
Yeah, I wasn't high on Vandy at all this year. I thought they were way overrated, but here as of late, I've watched them a little bit more, and I think they can really, from the 5 seed standpoint, I think they can do some damage. I think they're a really athletic team, and they have, good guard play, and they say guards win in March. So
taking down Florida again.
That would be nice.
Well, boys, it's been a hell of a time. Before we sign off here, just want to remind everybody to go and check the link below in the description about the Bench Points bracket pool. Join that, compete with us, and the more people we get, the better prizes. The more prizes we're going to get. And the winners will get WinWear merch. There's all different kinds of ways to win. And again, we want to thank the Double D's guys that are here, Derek and Dalton. Appreciate you all very much, and always enjoy our time together and hanging out and your insight. We really do enjoy it and appreciate it. And this has been a hell of a time. We really do appreciate it, guys.
No, thank you.
Yeah, and if you're watching this and you guys need even more boiler content, check out Double D's. I know that they do a lot of other stuff, but they've had some cool people on. They've had Isaac Haas on, Kramer. I'm like insanely jealous that I wasn't invited to any of those where I could have just fanboyed for an hour and a half. I wouldn't have said a word. I would have just hoggled, especially with that Chris Kramer jawline.
Oh, dude. And broke the camera. Dude.
No, these guys are absolutely incredible. Like I said, their intro is my favorite in any YouTube college basketball podcast that I follow at all. Like, I love it. I'm insanely jealous of it. I'd like to copy it. I can't rap. I don't know anybody that can.
You know AI, dude?
Yeah, AI did that one.
The AI did that one. I love it. So, but no, Double D.
Allen Iverson?
Yes.
Yeah.
Practice.
He can rap.
No,
we appreciate you guys having us, man. As always, it was a good time. Selection Sunday, the best time of the year, Thursday and Friday. If you are working, try harder next year because you're soft. It's a holiday and it should be nationally recognized. Thank you to Bench Points for having us on again. I appreciate you guys for real. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys very much. Sam, Brad, Jake, we appreciate you guys. If we get down in Indy, Purdue makes it down there, we'll see you down there. We're gonna have a show tomorrow if anybody wants to check it out too, with some other of our Purdue listeners. We're a fan first podcast. Some of our listeners are gonna come on around the horn style, and we're gonna do a little bit of bracket preview and talks. Plenty of content out there, but obviously we really appreciate you guys. Anybody, we try to.
Where can they find that at?
Yeah, just Double D's podcast on YouTube. I am on Twitter, Derek Jordan CBB. Dalton is at Paints Painter. We post everything on there as well. We go live on Twitter as well. So we also have an Instagram and a TikTok. So you can check us out on any of those. We try to post cool edits and stuff like that as well. We're mostly Purdue, but we're going to start kind of branching out as we grow. And, this summer comes along. I'm a big Cubs fan. I'm a golf fan. So we try to hit those things as well in the off season. We do have PJ Thompson coming on after the season ends to kind of discuss the new roster coming in for Purdue. So we'd love to, anybody who wants to come take a listen, check us out. Sometimes we get crazy.
Good deal. All right. Well, just like we say, we'll see you at the next blowout.
Take care, y'all.